Hi everyone, this is Jeff with GMT-5.com, and today we're taking a look at the Frederique Constant Slimline Moonphase manufacturer. This is a watch from a brand that is defining accessible luxury. Not affordability, but accessible luxury. I think it's important to draw a distinction between affordability and accessibility. When we say a watch is affordable, it's a cheap watch. I know that's all relative, but 500 bucks or less, 1,000 bucks or less, maybe that's a cheap watch. But accessible luxury is about taking the high end and then trying to find a way to make a piece of that more available at a more sensible price. So when you look at the Frederique Constant Slimline Moonphase, and you see it has an in-house movement, and you see the level and attention to detail and the fit and finish on the watch, it's something that you're going to see on a higher end watch that's going to cost about $8,000 plus. And so Frederique Constant is not trying to make a cheap watch. They're not trying to sell watches for 500 bucks. They're trying to give you an $8,000 product for a far more reasonable price. And that's fantastic because you don't see that every day in the watch industry, and this is real consumer-driven innovation. And I applaud Frederique Constant for being able to offer, what you might see in a product from Girard-Perregaux or JLC, getting a slice of that and delivering it to watch collectors for a really sensible price. The dial is absolutely stunning. There are a couple of alternative colors. You can pick up a white or chocolate version, but the blue is serene. It's like a midnight sky. It's perfect for a moonphase complication. It's incredibly peaceful, and the colors sort of shift with the light. And so as you hold the watch at different angles and it catches different light sources, due to the sunburst nature of the dial and the fact that it's a little bit domed, it can sort of throw different shades of blue across the dial at different moments, so it sort of looks like marble. This is not an over-designed watch by any means. I can't say it's a minimalist design either. There is a moonphase complication there, but it's so tastefully done at 6 o'clock with the date running around the perimeter of the aperture. It's not in the way at all. The focus is certainly on the timekeeping. I was worried about legibility with this watch. I thought that with the polished hour markers and the hands that there wouldn't be enough contrast against a dark dial. However, they're so mirror polished that they catch light easily, and so at any point in time, the hour and the minute hands are always visible, and so are the hour markers, except for at night because there's no lume on the watch, and that's largely because it's a dress watch. The case measure is 42 millimeters, which is probably where the argument comes in about how much of a dress watch this really is, given that that's a bit oversized for a dress watch by today's standards. I think you're looking at probably 40 millimeters as being more on the max end for a dress watch. However, the proportions of the dial are right. I mean, Frederique Constant didn't make a watch that was gaudy or showy in any way. The hour markers are I think, as long as they should be. There's a little bit of emphasis for the quarter hours. That the hands are leaf design and very tasteful. They're not in your face at all. And so I struggle to really say it's not a dress watch. I think it's tastefully done. There's a good execution here. It's just sized in a little more modernly, and maybe you don't like that, and that's okay. But certainly on the wrist, it's not big. I think if you take into account the way they've done the lugs, I think you'll agree. So the lugs come out straight from the case. And the lugs are pretty short, I think owing to the shape of the case, the way the case is sort of angled, you can connect the strap a little bit closer to the case than you would otherwise, and that means you don't need as long of lugs. And if you think about it, lugs are really a contributing factor to how a watch wears, because either the lugs are too long or the case is too big itself. In either case, it doesn't really matter because it's the lugs that are hanging over the edge of your wrist. And so, when it comes to this watch, it's not a problem, and so I find the size of 42 millimeters is, it wears pretty well. If the hand-polished case and the design wasn't enough for you, another main attraction is the in-house caliber. This is FC-705, a 26 jewel manufacturer caliber made by Frederique Constant. It has a 42-hour power reserve with date and moonphase complications, both of which can be operated from the watch's single crown. The display back is beautiful. So much heavy perlage and Cote de Genève, and when you put that brushed gold-plated and skeletonized rotor on it, it makes me feel like I'm getting away with something. It's like I stole a much more expensive watch's exhibition case back, and that's a tremendous feeling. And from my standpoint, that is a feeling of getting real value from a watch. On the wrist, the watch feels great. I love the slim profile. It deserves its slimline namesake. It's a tad over 11 millimeters thick, which is an ideal thickness for a dress watch. The blue Slimline Moonphase comes on a matching blue alligator strap that I really appreciate. It breaks in and becomes super comfortable after a day or so. My only complaint with the watch as a whole is its buckle, which I find pretty unimaginative. So when you factor in the design and the attention to detail in the rest of the watch, I'm not sure you see that reflected in the relatively ordinary clasp. While it's not the most versatile color option, it does pair well with dark colors like a dark suit, and the off-white stitching, however, makes this piece a little less formal than more subtle stitching would. So you do have some versatility in the types of clothing you would wear it with. Later this year, as we announced on GMT-5, Frederique Constant will be releasing a version with the stainless steel bracelet that'll be an even sportier option. So that's something to keep in mind if you like the look but don't really have a need for a dress watch right now. The Slimline Moonphase manufacturer is a true consumer-driven innovation, and I'm really excited to have had the chance to wear it. I'm not saying we don't need to buy watches from brands like Rolex or Girard-Perregaux anymore, because Frederique Constant has figured out how to put $8,000 worth of value into a $3,000 watch. What I am saying, though, is that this watch is such an innovation that it's going to alter consumer expectations of what a good watch is for $3,500. There are a lot of watches right now being sold in the market, and I'm not saying they're not worth their price tags, but being sold at relatively similar price points that can't even possibly touch what's being put in this single model at this price point. So if you've been waiting for the right dress watch or looking to add a new manufacturer caliber to your collection, the Frederique Constant Slimline Moonphase manufacturer is a strong addition. Until next time, this is Jeff from GMT-5.com, and we'll see you again soon.